All right, you've seen those severe weather watches, and keep your eye on the center of your screen. You're going to watch some pretty interesting rotation make its way in. That's how those storms developed throughout the day, pushed out of the region, and then they continued off to the northeast. And we're going to continue to see these storms pushing in from the north throughout the rest of the night, but clearing out for Friday for a pretty gusty one right now. We're looking at the temperature change, or at least not really that big of a one, as we saw them drop down into the 60s last night, and then we came up into the 70s, and we're already beginning the cool down. So we saw about a good 20-degree run, pretty average. Should see a little bit more, but they are talking about it being a drier month, seeing a lot of rain push through. 77 right now here in San Angelo. Everybody else joining us in the 70s, and we're looking at where a lot of the rain is sticking, mostly to the north, seeing some of those warmer spots down to the south. Ozona 75, 79 there in Sonora, and then of course seeing those cooler conditions, 74 in Ballinger. We're only seeing about a good 5 degrees spread across the entire region, if not 6 degrees, and we can see us cool off a little bit more because more of those colder temperatures are making their way down from the north. Right now we're seeing those dew points all over the place, as well as those relative humidity indices, seeing those drier conditions down to the southwest, but off to the southeast. They're in those 60s and those 70s. Those storms are going to continue to move in that trajectory, and then they're going to start coming from the north as we continue off into this evening. Dew points are pretty close as well to those saturation levels. We'll see what happens as a result. This low pressure still just barreling over the Concho Valley and the Four Corners, going to continue to give us some more trouble, but we're looking at that ridging off behind it. That's going to push us up into the 80s by next week, really setting off for a good spring break. Really keep your eye on the panhandle. That's that wrapping of moisture we're going to see push through. Then that pushes off to the east. That's going to lead to some pretty interesting weather throughout the rest of the night, if not us already seeing it. Severe weather outlook really just targeting us here in the Concho Valley in this part of eastern Texas, if not along the Oklahoma border, and that's exactly where the satellite is showing us that these severe weather warnings are being issued. You can even see some of those watches being issued for parts of the northern counties of the Concho Valley, and it's still pushing off. Look how big of a mess this really is. Right now the radar is showing you where they're continuing to move off to the northeast. Again, Coke County under that warning, but we're still under this warning for the next good 4 hours as it expires around 10 p.m. Winds are going to be the primary reason for the concern tomorrow. We're going to see those breezy conditions really push in about Friday morning. Then the bulk of it, or at least the highest intensity, settles in around Saturday. Going to see them coming out of the north again, about 20 miles per hour. So take a good opportunity once things dry up to go ahead and tie down any of those loose objects, things that could push out of the way. And then around Sunday, things are going to die back down, get more into the normal average temperatures, and then things are going to really calm down. Futurecast is going to show you where these storms are going to push out from the north. This is going to be that interesting line, and it's going to make its way towards Dallas and Austin. Then we're looking at how much it's going to clear up as we make our way towards that weekend, still keeping our eye on the panhandle, watching this dry air really dissipate as it continues to move from the north down towards the south. That's what's going to push us into those 60s by Saturday, but thankfully we're only going to be there for one day before things warm back up into those 80s. So tonight, still seeing a good opportunity for some thunderstorm activity, waiting for those warnings to expire down into the 50s. Then tomorrow, not nearly as hot as we have seen, only up into those 70s, and then things are going to clear out, but those winds are really going to pick up, and then things are going to really cool off. We're going to see those clouds push out, push us down into those 60s. We lose that hour on Sunday, and then things immediately start to warm up as we make our way back up into those 80s while those lows go from those 30s and then into those 50s. Stay tuned. More of the break. You're watching KSAN News at 5.